It's going to be a good one. Welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk here on the palatial Gonzo Radio Network, which, I know, it's the same as 2 weeks ago. We're back, and there's a lot to unpack. I mean, a lot. Like, we need to get out to put the bag on the bed, flop it over, get both panels going. We got to open up the drawers. We got to open up the closets, get all the hangers out. We got a lot to unpack. Tomorrow, very special day. It's one of the benchmark days of the NFL, business calendar, and that would be the beginning of the tampering, the allowed or the permitted tampering period for anticipation of Wednesday's 12 noon, is it? Free agency period begins? 12 noon?
4 o'clock on Wednesday.
4 o'clock. By the way, I'm Gonzo. This is Matt, the Maz Masaracchio. Say hi to the nice people.
Hello, good, nice people.
God, you look tired. Are you okay?
I was sick yesterday. I told you.
Oh, yeah, you were.
I woke up yesterday. I knew I had the headache coming on. I was about an hour or two away from my puke fest, and I knew it was coming. I just know my body. Of course, that took place. I get it out, even though nothing came out. And then I get through the wrenching of a few hours of whatever and a fever, and just by 3, 4 o'clock, I'm good to go. So that was yesterday, good to go. Now I feel good. I'm tired. I'm always tired. I don't sleep, bad hip, bad back, bad neck, whatever. But I'm not here to talk about me. I'm here to talk about free agency. So we got a lot to unfold. I'm a mess right now.
I'm a meme now. I'm just with the face palm.
Does
just
that cover up the bags under the eyes? Good. I feel better now.
There you go. Okay.
Actually, tomorrow is really the free agent discussion starting Monday.
We're going to rename the show Middle-Aged Bald Sports Guys Wearing Reading Glasses.
Yeah, to cover up the mistakes. So it's Wednesday, typically 4 o'clock. Is officially, I guess, when it all begins. But we kind of have an idea where some bodies are headed, or at least we can kind of...
What do you mean an idea, man? Okay. Free agency is coming. We see it coming. For the last, I would have to say it's probably... I hate using COVID as a benchmark, but 2019 was about the time because it was the second year of the revised... collective bargaining agreement for the NFL Players Association. So these new rules and new structures for free agency and for transition tags and for deferment of various, whether it's guaranteed money or it's signing bonuses or whatever. All the mumbo jumbo really started about 2017, 2018. Okay, so we've seen an acceleration here now. 7 or 8 years later, they've really refined the techniques for kicking the can down the road financially. I can't wait to hear around 2030, we're going to be hearing about, Aaron Rodgers still making $25 million from the New York Jets. Why? Because they owe him the money.
Yeah, well, the business of football certainly has changed over the last 10 years.
Oh, my God.
And, it seems like it's cyclical. So every few years there's a different approach. The last few years has been, pay the players around your rookie quarterback because he's on a rookie quarterback deal. Obviously you're trying to pay that position, the most important position on the team, the least amount of money, which is a little bit of a contradiction. But if you get it right and you can get a rookie quarterback or a second-year guy that develops and now you're a competitor, you get to pay everybody else. And that's been
you have
a
4-year window.
Success. Yeah, pretty much.
You have a 4-year window.
And you've seen that recently with guys like Jalen Hurts. Joe Burrow early in his career, even though now they had to pay him.
Even Tua Tagovailoa.
A lot of guys are doing this with. But, a good segue for this, we're talking about free agency. We're talking about the importance of quarterback play. Not only is the draft this year a little bit void of quarterback talent, maybe 1 or 2 guys that they're throwing around, the Cam Ward, obviously, and what's his name? Sanders from Colorado.
Shadur
Sanders. Yeah, these guys are obviously the 2 guys they're looking at, but there's certainly question marks for both. So look at the free agency right now for quarterbacks. These are some of the names that are available that are going to be tossed around. Sam Darnold had a big year last year, right?
Yep.
We kind of put him in the same class maybe as like a Baker Mayfield type guy, just below the bottom notch of top guys. But if you look at those years they had last year for what they were being paid, again, the model.
Cheap.
You get that sort of production from a guy you're only paying, dimes on a dollar, then good for you.
Good job by you, Mr. General Manager.
Justin Fields. Okay, opposite of production, but another cheap guy with maybe a ceiling that yet hasn't been reached yet. He potentially is going to be on the move.
Well, you listen. You used Baker and Mayfield as an analogy for players. I think Justin Fields is that guy. Okay, because Baker Mayfield has been bounced around. Boing, 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 boing. The Buccaneers are his fourth team, third team, fourth team.
Yeah, third team.
Well, he went to
Cleveland. Then he went to the Jets. Then he went to Tampa.
No, he went to Carolina.
Oh, Carolina. Then he went to
Remember,
Tampa. You're right. Sorry.
New York and Carolina are where quarterbacks go to go. Oh no, this isn't it.
Yeah.
And then they go to a place where there's a good quarterback coach and a good quarterback friendly head coach.
Yeah.
So I see Justin Fields as being that kind of guy. Because you look at this kid, he's undeniably a physical freak. Okay? Undeniably. He is as big or bigger than Jalen Hurts. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't squat 600 pounds like Jalen Hurts. Okay? But he is still highly mobile quarterback. Rocket launcher for an arm. Now, he's not necessarily 100% accurate.
He's one of the least accurate quarterbacks in the league.
Easy
Sort of
Steeler
kind of
fan.
important.
Quit bagging on the former Steeler,
54%
which he's going to be a former
career.
So what you're saying is you don't want him back?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying right now. Well, see, I don't want to switch this into a conversation about what the Steelers should do.
Well, I'll let you bag on the Steelers.
Yeah,
we're
not there
both
yet.
going to bag you. I'm going to do the Dolphins.
Yeah,
You're going to do
we're
the
not
Steelers
there
like
yet.
we always do.
But again, there's more free agents. Justin Fields, I get it, free agent. Russell Wilson, both the quarterbacks for the Steelers, free agents. Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones. My point, Jameis Winston, is there isn't the name right now out there other than Stafford, who re-signed, who was talked about being moved to some teams. It's going to be difficult this year, I think, for teams that are looking for that quarterback to find it. So you're going to have to be creative. Now, a team like the Giants, we were looking at just before we went on about, they're speculating for the draft, who they're looking at. They're picking at number 3. They were suggested to be picking a wide receiver to go along with Malik Neighbors. Now, clearly, we understand that you got to have a quarterback to be able to throw the football to this talent, right?
Yep.
And they don't have one as of right now.
Nope.
Dable's on the clock. All right, we know that because of obviously the discussions and the failures that they've had. Now, he was tied to Daniel Jones, so he's getting a little bit of an extension on that leash. But I can tell you out of the gate this year, he's on the clock, and with other coaches as well. He's going to want to get a quarterback. He's going to need a quarterback to keep that ship afloat.
Yep.
And who do you think of these names on the lists that are available that can go to the Giants? I mean, I really haven't heard anybody other than Stafford. But if they're eyeing a receiver with their first pick at number 3, there's been discussions. So of all these quarterbacks that are out there, one of the Steelers quarterbacks, I personally think the more I'm hearing, the Steelers are going to be letting Justin Fields go. So Justin Fields will be available.
No, they're letting him go.
Yeah. So Russell Wilson will be the guy they signed. Fine. Okay. What does that tell you? I mean, if you had to choose between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, and you've made your decision and it's Russell Wilson, it doesn't say much about Justin Fields. So, again, from that perspective, there are quarterbacks that are available. Personally, best fit for the Giants, really, I think it's any of those guys is going to be an upgrade. So, Aaron Rodgers, his last 10 games last year, he was a top 10 quarterback, fantasy production-wise. Okay, played well. Now, he can't move. He's not mobile.
Right.
But Stafford's the same guy, not mobile, but can rip you apart and still make the plays.
Right.
So I personally think a guy like Rodgers could be a definite upgrade to the Giants, very short term. I mean, even if you get 10 games from him next year, at least it gets you in a direction where you've got some sort of semblance at the position.
Right. Well, what do we know about Brian Daboll offenses? Okay. Brian Daboll offenses get the ball out of the quarterback's hands quickly. Okay. A Brian Daboll offense is a 3 seconds. That's the most. Okay, everybody's talking about 2.5 seconds. Brian will give you 3. Okay, but that ball has got to be moving, going somewhere in 2.5 seconds or less. Okay, so this is the reason why you will see the Giants go after a veteran with a quick release, a veteran who is capable of making quick decisions. The only other wild card type of a player that I could see that would be a differentiation from that path would be Russell Wilson and his ability to extend plays with his legs. But Daboll doesn't want a quarterback to extend plays. Okay, his experience with Allen in Buffalo told him, okay, big boy, either get rid of the ball in less than 3 seconds or take off running. Not this way, not that way, that way. Okay, because you're a big 250-pound mook and get your mook running. Okay, with Wilson, he likes to run around, so Wilson will be a desperation for them.
I don't think the Steelers are going to keep Wilson, in my opinion. I mean,
You think so?
Yeah, I think the talk is going to be Justin Fields more or less to not be re-signed.
Okay, I still feel Justin Fields.
I think
has
Sam
an
Darnold.
opportunity.
I think Darnold would be great back in that same building. Remember, he was a Jet. He knows the facility, knows the training room very well. But now he's playing for the Giants. Yeah, I mean, Darnold to me is probably going to be the best of the bunch in terms of the draft.
Quick release.
A guy who obviously had a good year last year. Now, again, we mentioned him, mentioned Baker. I think a guy like Darnold, I think that was his ceiling last year. Okay.
Yeah, and he got exposed in the playoffs against the blitz.
I mean, he didn't
just
have a
blitzed the
great
crap
game,
out of him.
But again, over the years' time, it was enough of a sample size for me to see that he is a good quarterback.
Sure, no doubt.
And he's a guy that can certainly, in this situation, stabilize the Giants' position for quarterback.
Well, listen, there's 32 starters. I will say that he's probably 14th or 15th.
Yeah.
He's in the top half.
Yeah. Now, the rest of these guys, Daniel Jones will probably land a spot as a backup. Jameis Winston
Would not
will
mind
sign.
him in Miami. Would not mind Winston in Miami.
These guys are all guys that you know if you plug them in for 3 or 4 games, they can win you some of those games.
Give me some zip right here, some zing, some bing, 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 a live arm. That's what I want.
Yeah, valuable situations. So that's the quarterback landscape. It's not great. It's going to be interesting. There are certainly some teams that are desperate for quarterbacks. It's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Well, listen, the funniest thing that I find about the quarterback class coming out of college is that pundits are really, really quick to shit on every other prospect besides the big two, besides Shedeur, besides Cam. They shit on everybody else. Jackson Dart, Howard, all those guys. They shit all over them. Like, oh, they're nothing. They're nobody. Okay, and I still recall, pundits like Mel Kiper Jr. calling guys like Russell Wilson, he's never going to be a big time. He's never going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's going to be a nice guy. He'll sit on the bench. He'll have a nice 12-year backup career, and he'll become a coach. Yeah. How's that working out for you, Mel? Does anybody ever listen to Mel Kiper anymore?
Where is Mel Kiper right now? Listen, he's got 2 weeks of glory, so let's just let him.
Listen, these guys who do all these mock drafts, okay, and it's interesting the first 5 or 6 times that you see it. First 5 or 6 times, it's interesting. But the only time I want to hear from you guys after this is if there's a trade involving draft picks. Okay, a move up, a move down, whatever. I don't want to hear about it anymore. You're not accurate.
The guys I listen to on the network, the Fantasy Network, and there's lots of different shows and platforms. Those guys are smart. Those guys, I think, are even smarter than the ones that are the Mel Kipers, the ones that are. And this is the reason, because I've been listening to these guys for years. What do? They put the work in. They go to the training camps. They go to the Senior Bowl.
And they still get it wrong.
Well, I'm just saying, though, but for the most part, these guys are smart. Yeah, I mean, nobody has the blueprint for this. And one pick in a draft can change the whole landscape of a draft. So it's not like, I'm sure all these teams go in with a plan, but middle of round 1, most of these teams are probably taking that plan and wiping their ass with it. Because, again, changes are being made constantly, trades and stuff like that. Running backs. We hit the quarterback position for free agency. There's certainly some running backs that are available too. And I think personally, and a lot of teams I'm sure seeing this, is for a very short while, we were banging on the running backs, right? Oh, They don't have value. Oh, they're not getting paid.
And then Saquon Barkley happened.
And Derrick Henry in year 36. And all these other guys that are just still dominating the league. These are some names. Aaron Jones, okay? He's 30. He's on the backside of it. But in the right situation, again, where you're having 2 running back backfields, very valuable player.
Aaron can still play.
Yeah, very valuable. J.K. Dobbins, little resurgence last year for the Chargers.
Still got dinged. Still missed 3 games.
He did.
He's still missing games for injuries.
Again, he went into the year last year as the number 1, and I don't know quite yet if it will ever be a number 1 size-wise. They drafted was it Kalami Vidal? He was a bust. They had some other injuries in the backfield, and Dobbins got a lot more.
And they had Gus Edwards backing him up.
And Edwards came in late, was a part of that. Okay, here's more free agents for the Steelers, both running backs. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren. I think the Steelers bring Warren back. Personally, I think they let Harris
And
go.
they let Harris walk.
They let Harris walk. Rico Dowdle, free agent. He had a big year last year. He got on the map. He got a lot of usage. Javonte Williams, Kareem Hunt. They pulled him off the heap, and he ended up being the best producer in that backfield. Nick Chubb, not sure if he's going to be ever what he once was.
They're going to end up letting him go.
Yeah, so there's a few more names on the running back chart this year available-wise free agency, and in the draft it tends to be, at least what they're saying, there's a few guys in the draft that are probably going to the first round.
Yes, everybody is jibber-jabbering about Genty and Scatabo.
Yeah, those
everybody,
are the two.
those are the two guys that they think are going to go in the first round.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you guys are sleeping on both running backs coming out of Ohio State. Okay. There's a bunch of running backs that everybody's sleeping on. It's the same situation when Devon Achane come out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody, who?
Well,
who?
This is what's happened. And
he's fast?
It's going to take a while for it to come back, and it may not fully come back. But
right.
Running backs that were being taken in the later first round and early second round, maybe 6-7 years ago, because that's how they were looked upon, and now are just really good second-day draft picks.
Right.
And you're seeing 10, 12, 15 running backs come off the board in that second day.
Right.
And it's not because they're second-round value. It's only because that's just where they're being taken. And that's fine because those players are NFL players.
Right. Well, I see the devaluation of the running back, especially a feature back. Devaluation started probably with Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell was the first guy that stepped up and stood up against the team and stood up against the NFL and said, give me what I'm worth or I'll sit out. Okay, sit out. And he sat out. And eventually, the team blinked and had to get rid of him because they weren't going to be. And he ended up being washed up. I mean, what did he have? He had a one-half decent season with the Jets, and then he stole a couple of more paychecks and he was out of the league before his 10th season. Okay, sure, you maximize your money, but guess what? These owners, these general managers, they are number crunchers. They are businessmen, and that was part of the devaluation. You had a few kids that came out of the college ranks that were busts that you wasted a first or a second round draft choice on. You had other guys like Dalvin Cook, who pulled what he was. Now he can barely hang on to a roster spot. Okay, he couldn't break the starting lineup for the Cowboys, and that was Rico Dowdle.
I'm looking at the ages of all these free agent running backs, and the youngest, there's only one 25-year-old on the board. Everybody else is older than 25. So that's it. And this list is 49 players deep.
Right.
And there is not a player on here that's 25 years old.
Right.
So I'm sorry, that is younger than 25 years old. So clearly, like we talked about, and like it's the stigma of the position. Get them while they're good. Get them young.
Yep.
Pay them whatever you can pay them. And then, by the way, when the contract is up again after 4 years, it's a hard look to see where the value is on these players.
Very few exceptions are worth it. I mean, we saw the guys that were exceptions last year. We saw them, and they changed teams, and they got paid, and they were successful. They were very successful. And there are a few guys that are feature back types, like your Najee Harris. He really is a feature back type. The only problem is I don't think he was the feature back type for the Steelers. Steelers have a zone blocking scheme, run a lot of draws. Okay, so
the offensive line has been terrible.
Right.
We talked about it. So
right.
his whole tenure.
And Najee is what? An Alabama back.
Yeah.
And what do we see Alabama backs do? We see Alabama backs take their time, wait for the holes to open up, hit it hard, run through the linebacker.
Yeah, not a lot of holes in Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah, it's because they're not drive blockers; they're zone blockers.
The only hole is Mike Tomlin's mouth opening all the time with words coming out of it that mean nothing.
Okay, well, that's the reason why Jalen Warren was successful, is because Jalen Warren is the kind of running back where, with a zone blocking scheme, what? Oh.
Just want to throw it up there.
That's okay, it's an inside joke. Nobody sees that.
That's all. There you go.
Jalen Warren is the kind of running back you hand him the ball, and he runs to where the hole is supposed to be. Okay, he runs to where the hole is supposed to be, and he runs full speed. He doesn't have to use his vision. He trusts that his offensive line is going to make the hole where it's supposed to be, and then you make adjustments from there. And he's had a lot of success because he is a scheme back in that light. But I think Najee Harris is a guy who, once he has a chance to go somewhere else, I think he's going to be very successful, especially if they have a run blocking scheme where he can do what Alabama backs do.
Najee Harris has good hands. He can catch the football too. And he can play 3 downs. He can.
People forget the boy's 235 pounds. He's a big dude.
He can pass block as well. He is an above average running back in a below average offense.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, I do think there is still some tread there in the tire. But again, you're looking at age. And Jalen Warren's 26, not like he's much younger. Harris is 27. So there's not that much of a difference. I just think style of play, I just think Warren is going to fit better.
Yeah.
Because the offensive line is inept.
But you have to take these feature back types more seriously as they get older, though. Okay, that's what we've been seeing is that these older backs, speaking of Kareem Hunt, who's what, 28, 29 now? I mean, as much crap as he's been through in his career, it feels like he's 35. Okay, he's up there. Okay, and he had one of his most efficient seasons last year. Okay, you have to start taking a look at some of these feature backs. Okay, they're pros. They have very consistently had good habits. They have consistently performed well in spite of injuries or through injuries or before, during, and after injuries. Okay, you have to take them seriously. And I think that Howie Roseman did a really great job in paying Saquon. I still think he's got 2 more years at the level that he is now, which is what, he's 29 now, 28?
Yeah.
He's still got 2 more years, 2 more seasons. You've seen this kid in person, okay? He's a physical freak. He is an absolute workout monster. He is a 21st century athlete. Believe it.
Yeah, he's good. He's really
okay,
good.
So past 30? Yeah. The same with Derrick Henry. Henry's what, 30, 31 now?
31, I think.
Yeah. I get the feeling that in 2031, we're going to be talking about Derrick Henry still chugging right along.
He'll be the Frank Gore of
Yeah.
the NFL.
I mean, 40 years old.
Yeah.
Why not? Because you look at Henry, 6'2", 6'3", 250 pounds, and you look at the dude, he hasn't got an ounce of fat on him. He can squat a pickup truck, all right? You know, I mean, yeah. So you're going to be looking for guys like that. If you find somebody special like that, and some of these running backs are turning out to be special like that, you pay them. Yeah. You keep them. You quit screwing around. You don't make the same mistakes that the dumbass New York Giants make.
Some of the receivers that are available.
We got a bunch.
Yeah, well, there's a few big names receiver-wise.
Huge.
We'll give you the first 5 or 6. T. Higgins, they franchised him. I'm glad to see that because you know I'm a Burrow homer. So just please block for this poor guy. Godwin had a big year last year, and we knew that. I was big on him last year.
Yeah, but his injury is going to cause him to have to take even though he's going to have to take a pay cut because of his injury, though.
Okay, that's fair, but again, he's 29, so he's still got, I think, some tread on the tire there.
He's not going to make $25 million, though.
No, he won't get paid like that, but he should go back to Tampa if they're willing to re-sign him, and he's willing to take somewhat of a friendly contract. Devontae Adams, 32 years old. I guess, is he just waiting to see where Aaron Rodgers lands? Keenan Allen, another guy, 32 years old. Quiet year last year. Thought he was going to be an important piece in that Chicago offense, but that offense never got off the ground last year.
Right. Well, have we all forgotten about Stephon Diggs?
He is coming down. Amari Cooper, also from Buffalo. Stephon Diggs, also. There's been some links to Pittsburgh from Stephon Diggs. I read that this morning.
You should be so lucky.
We'll see. Marquise Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, these are some big names. Interesting to see that the ages, these are slightly higher than the running backs. These guys are all in their late 20s, early 30s.
Right.
Once they start to hit the free agent market, these receivers. And that's what you're seeing pretty much down the list. But again, with a draft that is more of a balanced draft this year. Again, not to beat a dead horse, but that's what the pundits are saying. Strong value, lots of NFL starters, not a lot of big names. Day 2, day 3, you're going to have receivers coming off the board. So this free agent market here is tempting. There's a few guys here that can make big impacts on some teams.
And there's a few guys that are going to have to retire.
Well, there's a few guys on the list, like maybe a Brandon Cooks who just can't stay healthy. Going down the list here, Deontay Johnson. I mean, what another Steeler diva receiver that once we let him go, you saw true colors. Went to Baltimore, never got on a field. And
$1 million hands, 10-cent brain.
Yeah, something happened there. So, yeah, there's a lot of names out there for the receivers as well. So, again, tomorrow it starts. Wednesday it's official. Let's get this thing going. Couple more side notes about football, and then we can maybe take a break and back talk some baseball and some other stuff. You know, one of the things I've seen, and I've been banging on the Steelers, we can each take a few minutes on our teams here.
Here we go. Here we go. Go ahead.
I could talk for hours about how much I have so much disdain for my organization. The offensive line,
Tomlin.
I've been banging on this for years. It's not rocket science. If you have a good offensive line, you have a great opportunity to be a good offense, right? Let's look at the top offensive lines from last year. Eagles, Broncos, Bucks, Lions, Bills, Packers, Chiefs. Their common denominator for those teams is they all made the playoffs, okay? Guess what the Steelers haven't been successful at doing in the last, Tomlin's tenure? Make the playoffs and then be successful once you get to the playoffs. And the number one reason is the offensive line. They've been bad and consistently bad for years. We've gone through free agency. We've attempted to fix the problem in the draft.
You did get a decent guard last year.
We picked
in the draft.
Yeah. No, and again,
it was a start.
They've made efforts to make the changes, but it just hasn't been successful. So you have to either look at the people making the decisions or the system at which you operate in, or both. And I clearly think it's both. But you're bringing back the coach, you're bringing back the same OC, same general manager. I'm guessing the approach is going to be the same. So there's very little excitement as to what direction they're going to do. We have decisions to be made. We've got 2 free agent running backs and 2 free agent quarterbacks that clearly we're not going to be keeping, the lot of them. So we're going to be making choices. My personal decision would be to probably keep Russell Wilson. I know what kind of quarterback Justin Fields is, and he's not one. So I don't care how athletic he is. I don't care how much of a specimen he is. In today's NFL, you got to be able to hit the quarterback, and get it right, and that quarterback has to be able to throw the football. So it's great that he's got athletic ability, and he can, again, you can design 5 to 7 plays RPO, but when it comes down to it, when you're down 10 points in the fourth quarter, Justin Fields is not going to lead you back. It's just not going to happen. So he goes. Bye. I also think it's going to be Najee Harris because, again, he's got one more year on the tire. And I just think they have a little bit more of a love fest for Jalen Warren. They can easily go
and there's 5 other running backs they can draft.
Yeah, I'm just saying they can easily go into the draft day 2, day 3 and get a guy.
I heard Dalvin Cook's looking for a job.
Yeah. So, that's the Steelers. Again, if the guys calling the shots are operating within the same system that they've been in now for several years, what else? What excitement is there in the building? I mean, what am I looking forward to next year as a Steeler fan? When we have the worst quarterback probably in the division, and that's with Cleveland not even having a quarterback at this point. Certainly probably one of the weakest offensive coaches in the division. And again, that's without Cleveland having a quarterback. So it's like, what are we doing? Let's just get to baseball. That's my Steeler rant. You can do your Dolphin rant, then we can
Let's
talk about
just get to baseball.
Yeah,
that's how bad it is in Pittsburgh. Yeah, is baseball's ready to go
I'm
yet?
excited about the draft like I'm every year.
You were talking about pitchers and catchers reporting in December.
Oh, sure. I had the clock going.
I know.
Yeah, I had the clock
That's
going.
pathetic. That's sad.
16 days. So
you're the droopiest terrible towel in the history of terrible towels.
We talked about this. I speak the truth.
It's a damp, terrible towel. It's really terrible. The smell was terrible.
I speak the truth.
I can relate along the lines of the offensive line woes when it comes to my Miami Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins, because I'm not owning somebody who bumbles along like they did. Okay, all things considering, let's call last year a down year. Whoops. Okay, right now we're heading into season 4 of the Greer-McDaniel Brain Trust, and the results have been a little mixed. And a lot of people, because of high expectations and low results last year, there's a whole group of people on the fire McDaniel, fire Chris Greer bandwagon. And it begs the question, for whom? Who are you going to fire these 2 guys who have pretty decent track records. Okay, because they had a down year, because they had a bad year because their starting quarterback that they tailored the entire offense around. Okay, mistakes were made. So we're looking at pretty much a prove-it year for that brain trust. Because if they don't make the playoffs, if they don't win a playoff game, if they don't have a significantly better season than what they had last year, and they don't show that there is a brighter future going forward, they're done. So we differ in as much as if Tomlin brings you a 9-8 season, then he's not likely to get fired.
Well, you just got to.
But if we have a 9-8 season, those two are gone.
Listen, Tomlin's going to play out the contract. They
Right.
signed it. The Steelers are not going to.
Right.
They're not going to fire him after just signing him to an extension.
So we have a better opportunity at change.
Oh, no question.
Okay.
Yeah, we're stuck in the mud for 2 more years.
Right.
Yeah.
So because mediocrity doesn't sit well with Dolphin fans. They're very, very frustrated.
But here's the problem: they don't
Okay.
even look at what the Steelers are doing. At least, I guess, in their own building as mediocrity. They look at it as a successful franchise, a winning franchise, and I just don't see that over the last 7 or 8 years.
Right. I know. I know.
Yeah.
We've heard this. This is my turn to bitch.
Yeah.
Why are you bitching about my bitching?
Well, I mean, okay, back to your team too. I agree. I mean, McDougal there is going to be on the coaching carousel this year.
McDougal, McLovin,
McDougal,
McCoachin.
whoever. Yeah, he's definitely going to be on the hot seat because
Yeah.
again, that pair, that's tenured. 4 years in the NFL to have
4
a
years
GM and a coach
together.
together. That's like tenure. So if you can't get it right by year 5, then there's no year 5.
Yeah, there will be
There's
no year 5.
Yeah, there's no year 5.
So here's how the plan is going forward. First of all, you got to learn from what your mistakes were last year. I think the NFL caught up with McDaniel after he torched everybody in his second year with his high-powered offense. With the cheetah and Waddle and bing, 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 bing. Okay, the number one offense, scoring offense, offense. The NFL caught up. Everybody got the film.
Quick window.
Okay.
Window was open and it was shut.
Yeah.
That quick.
Your bubble screens, your wide receiver screens, everybody knows. Everybody knows. Stay home. Stay home, spread out, spread the net. Otherwise, so the need to improve and balance the offense all starts with the offensive line, as we all preach.
And have been
Offensive
preaching.
line.
Yes.
Okay. And it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Now, they went and got a piece last year with this Paul kid who's the size of a tree. Okay. He's a left tackle.
6'6", isn't he?
6'7",
Yeah, he's big.
335 pounds. When you go into the huddle and you see all these dudes that are all 6'1" to 6'3", and then all of a sudden there's a helmet up here.
There's a head.
A head,
Yeah.
and he's got the Darth Vader face mask to begin with, and so he has the look, he has the style. He got his feet wet last year by necessity, not only at left tackle but at right tackle. Okay, it's time.
Speaking of big linemen, did you see in the combine that 6'6", 312-pound lineman run a 4.84?
Yeah, isn't that the same kid that also plays tight end? And
I don't know. I looked and I said, mountains are not supposed to move that quickly.
Yep. Oh,
with
yeah.
feet. And he
welcome
did
to the 21st century, baby.
4.84.
Yeah,
he ran.
monster.
A 6'6", 312 guy. First of all, how do you get started at 6'6", 312? Like that first step has got to be just, I mean, so much energy to get that. But once it's going, how do you
Yeah.
stop it?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, that's just, imagine getting a run block downfield, 20 yards downfield, this guy's coming at you.
And listen,
No.
At my apex, the time that I had a 40-yard dash timed for me at the age of 20 years old, okay, and it was 5.2 seconds. And I was like, woo! And then 2 kids after me, 19-year-old, and at that time I was 6'4", 260, 255. And I was quick off the ball. Boom, I moved like 1 second for 10 yards. 2 kids after me, 310 pounds, 6'4", ran a 4.8.
Wow.
And at that juncture, I wanted to leave because the numbers just got lower as far as the defensive linemen were concerned. I was like,
Yeah.
Dream, the bubble was burst. But back to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Okay? Back to the Dolphins. Monday, tomorrow, I want to hear about them being curious about an upper level, a top level guard. There's a bunch of them that are hitting the market right now. Hell, they've been getting traded. You look at you look at the Bears. They traded for two of them.
I was just going to say, what does Ben Johnson do 2 days after he gets to Chicago?
Guards. Give me guards.
Offensive line.
Yep.
Thank you. Smart guy.
And I guess he doesn't like the center because they're willing to let him go in free agency. So we're going to see how that offensive line gets retooled in Chicago.
But they have a plan.
Right. And Chris Greer better have a plan. He better not be talking about we like the guys that we have. Okay. You got 3 guards that are leaving. Robert Jones. Thank God Liam Eichenberg, go play somewhere else. I don't care. I don't care if you go have a great career somewhere else. You were terrible here, and we don't want you back. I swear to God, if they re-sign Liam Eichenberg, I'm never going to a game this year. You can hear right now. You put it right here on tape. They re-sign Liam Eichenberg. I am not going to a game this year. I'm going to be mad. I don't care. I'm done with the dude. Period. I'm done. I don't care if he's a comeback player of the year. I'm done. Okay? So that guy better not come back. Now, a guy that they really should bring back, as far as the depth piece is concerned, is Isaiah Wynn. Isaiah Wynn had a bad, nasty injury that kept him out most of last year and half of the year before.
It'd be a real win.
It'd be a dad jokes. So you keep him, but you go draft. You go free agency. You go top free agency. You go mid-level free agency. I want to see 5 guards and one of those
2
guards
tackles.
And one of those guards.
One long snapper.
One of those guards better be able to play a tackle spot, and the other guard better be able to play center. Okay. There's talk of drafting this kid Mertz in the second round. The kid from North Dakota State, who's started at every position on the offensive line. 6'3", 295 pounds, 300 pounds. Give me, yeah, sure. Why? Because their run blocking scheme is the San Francisco run blocking scheme, and you got to have guys that can drive on the ball. You guys have guys that can pull. Okay, so go get them. Go get them.
We didn't talk about real quick before we take a little break. Come
Why?
back. Do so.
Why are you trying to direct my show?
I'm not. Geno Smith.
I'm not done complaining.
Oh no, I'm cutting you off. It's getting hot.
Why?
Geno Smith to the Raiders. What do you think about that?
Oh, you want to talk about the quarterback carousel?
No, just the one more player we forgot to mention. We talked about quarterbacks from free agency, and I was just looking through my notes, and I figured Geno to the Raiders. You know, maybe the Raiders are on their way to becoming viable. Tom Brady now, part ownership.
It's still going to be a transitional year because they had such a deficit of talent on that team.
Easy, we talked about it.
But still, it's a deficit of talent, though.
Best tight end.
Who do they have at wide receiver besides Jacoby
Myers? That's it.
Yeah.
That's all they have.
Jacoby Myers and Associates.
But again, here's what they do have. They have one of the best tight ends in the league. They have one of the best edge rushers in the league.
Okay.
And now they have
the highest paid edge rusher in the league.
And now they have a quarterback that can stabilize the franchise.
They also have the most overpaid defensive tackle in Wilkins in the league, too. How's that working out for you?
They have a coach now that can, and Carroll, that can maybe reset the culture in L.A.
That's good at hiring assistants, by the way.
So, again, I'm saying overall, you got the right pieces in place to start that Vegas train going.
Sure.
Because I think a competitive Vegas is going to be
still going to need a second draft.
Yeah.
Still going to need to shed some of that guaranteed money that they got stuck on the books for them. You're still going to need to do that.
Yeah. I like the move, though. That's all I'm saying is the Raiders, you know, again, in a difficult free agent year for quarterbacks and in a draft where they're probably not going to be in a position to go get one for the franchise, this is a bridge. Geno, and he's more than a bridge quarterback. He's a winning quarterback. He had a good year last year. Pro bowler 2 years ago. Again, I just think that he is the right fit for them now. Certainly, it's a positive step, and if they continue to make positive steps, the Raiders become viable. And in a city like Vegas, I think that's good for the NFL. Just another win.
Well, I see the Raiders going heavy on offense right now because they've spent in the last 2 seasons, they've spent a lot of money on defense.
Yeah.
A lot. They've got a safety, Morig, who is coming up for free agency. I don't think they're going to try to re-sign him. I think they're going to go draft some defensive backs because that defense is expensive, but it needs to get younger.
Well,
They got Jack Jones, who's a
remember
great
the philosophy with Carroll, with Legion of Boom: build the defense, run the ball, play solid quarterback.
Don't be surprised you see him pick a safety and a corner.
Yeah.
Okay, boom, boom, first and second round, safety and a corner.
Yeah.
Be surprised if they spend, and I don't think they're going to spend any more money on the defense. Maybe they'll get a mid-level free agent or two, but they've spent a lot of money between Crosby and Wilkins. They've spent a lot of money.
Well, I mean, Seattle was a top defense last year, but the Raiders, they definitely.
They've got to make some improvement there, but the offense is what they're going to stack up.
Yeah, 100%.
Running back, wide receiver, you're going to see one or more of both of those positions. You're going to see them shore up the offensive line, which was pretty good actually. Okay, they just had no skill position players. So if they hit on 2 or 3 guys and they're becoming an offensive juggernaut, and Geno throws for 4,000 yards again and 20 plus touchdowns again, then they may be done spending on offense and then they'll go back to the defense again. But I like the idea that they've spent all their money now this year on defense. Max Crosby, deservedly so, the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. But they're still a year away. They still really are another year away because of the talent deficit. But back to the Dolphins. Let me just leave you guys with these things before we go to break. The Dolphins are not trading Tyreek Hill. Now, of course, that may be the kiss of death, and they'll trade him tomorrow. Okay, but logic dictates you do not trade a top 5 wide receiver, a game breaker, a guy who speed has not diminished. Okay, he has not gotten slower. He is still a physically tough dude. He played with a torn wrist ligament for half the year. Okay, the guy is tough. He's a gamer. He's a leader. Okay, he's just over emotional and he says stupid shit.
Yeah, the thing is that is a chess piece that's tough to replace.
Yeah.
Number one, and number two, even if you did trade him, would you be able to get the value in the trade? You won't be able to get that value back.
No, hell no.
Yeah, so you have to make do with what you have there.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And second of all, give me a veteran backup quarterback that can ball. Give me Marcus Mariota. Give me Zach Wilson, which I'm still banging on that. Give me Zach Wilson off of that Denver bench after a year with Sean Payton, being shown how the quarterback position is supposed to be played. Give me that young man. He's got a lot to prove. Give me Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones spending all that time up in Minnesota with that coaching staff, he can only improve. He was confused. He was traumatized in New York. Okay, but give me an excellent, not just, okay, Tyler Huntley. Huntley wants to re-sign with the team? Sure. It's going to be a quarterback competition. Okay, so throw him, a rookie, and one of those free agents that's not going to cost you a lot of money. Okay, I say Mariota because Mariota and Tagovailoa Tua are like that. They're buddies, they're pals, they're from the same area. So bring him in. And there, you solve a lot of your problems. Rebuild the offensive line, give me a good backup quarterback, replace your pieces. Malachi Starks with the 13th overall pick him, or best offensive lineman available. I don't care if it's a tackle or a guard. Okay, don't draft a corner. Don't do that. If you want to draft a DB, it's got to be Starks to replace Holland. Buy Javon Holland, appreciated you. I see too many highlights of the Dolphins getting burned deep, and who's following the wide receiver into the end zone? Number 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it, and maybe Deshaun Elliott all over again, because when Deshaun Elliott was here, all we saw was number 21 following wide receivers into the end zone. Okay, getting beat, getting burnt deep. So whatever. Give me Malachi Starks. The kid's an animal. He's an absolute monster. He's a demon. He's a man possessed on the field. Okay, you go to the success of the Georgia Bulldogs defense, which has been elite ever since Kirby Smart came to town. And what does he start? From the safety, the middle linebacker, defensive tackles, right up the middle of that field. Everybody else is fast. These guys are smart and strong. You control the middle of the field. Malachi Starks be the next great Miami Dolphins safety if you pick him at 13.
Smart and strong.
So there you go. Anything else to add?
We some
Yeah,
baseball.
we're going to talk about baseball
I got
next.
a player.
Yeah.
I got a baseball player that I want to mention.
Save it for the break.
Well, I just want to tell you what's coming up.
What?
I got a baseball player.
Why?
That is should be on everybody's radar this year.
What's that?
Who won't be probably on anybody's radar this year.
Yeah.
I'll tell you when we get back.
We live a pie on our day. We live a pie on our day.
Yes.
What in there?
We better get going. God knows what the team is doing with just Farmer Fran watching them.
Dios de tan va a bouger on the vie, corre rojo y reflexión va a bouger ahí.
Gonzo. Welcome back. Okay, so I advise all of you, especially you baseball nerds, you rotisserie baseball nerds, I advise you to find a pen or a pencil, piece of paper, bust out notes on your phone, whatever it is, but get ready to take some notes, okay? Because this is the most wonderful time of the year for Matt, and Matt is about to go straight baseball batshit. So we'll turn things over to you, Mr. Mazzaracchio.
Baseball is here.
Yes.
Opening day, 16 days away.
16 days away.
That's when it counts.
Is there like a special tree that you guys put up? You sing songs, like take me out to the ball game, that stuff? Is that what?
It's usually a 3-day prep for me
3-day prep?
to get to that. Yeah.
Sort of like a colonoscopy?
There's flowers, there's candles, there's nakedness. It's just absolutely.
Oh, we
insane.
didn't need to go naked. We really didn't need to
So
do
yeah,
that.
3-day. Baseball is a statistically driven sport. We all know this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten so insane with the sabermetrics in baseball. There are
Nerds.
probably 100 different offensive categories. Literally, that's not even a stretch. I like to key in on some important ones. I've mentioned this over the years before. Weighted on base average, batting average of balls in play, ISO, which is the ability to hit a ball very hard, very far.
Stay awake, everybody. Stay awake.
Yeah, isolated strength. What
What about players on drugs?
There's a lot of those. Just ask Pac-Man
We got to
Jones.
keep their attention.
Pac-Man Jones is high, but he's a football player.
He's still high.
Yeah, you imagine that, the story with Pac-Man
All right,
Jones?
don't digress.
Okay, so baseball draft, no different than football draft. We're trying to find value. We're trying to find players that are going to make your team better. Obviously, every player is assessed a value, just like in football. It's no different here. So you're trying to determine where these players should go. I got a guy that nobody is on this year, that if he gets on your roster, or if you want to get into the betting side of baseball, once we start to get into things, we can get into props and all that fun stuff. But when I look at players, you can't just these days look at batting average, home runs, RBIs, the basic stats that we grew up with. Because unless you get inside the actual numbers, that's what tells the story. So I'll give you an example, and this is a guy that I'm on, Michael Toglia. Nobody's heard of Michael Toglia unless you're a Colorado Rocky fan or unless you followed wherever you
Baseball nerd.
You went to school at Texas. Who cares? The bottom line is that I look at guys like this that had big years last year. Now, on the surface, he hit 220. Not impressive. He had 25 homers, probably about league average for a starting outfielder. Also has first base eligibility. But let's get inside the numbers. The guy had 400 at-bats last year. 25 homers, 400 at-bats, that's pretty good. You play a full season, you usually get about 600 at-bats. and the leaders come in between 30 and 35 homers a year. A per average basis, he's hitting a home run, let's see, 25, probably every 15 to 16 at bats.
Would it be a 35-90 guy?
That's pretty good. But what I look at is something called barrel rate. Barrel rate is just very simple. Is how you square up the baseball. Okay, they consider the baseball bat a barrel, and they can tell you based on where the baseball hits the barrel, how accurate your swing is, and they give you a barrel rate. Well, Michael Toglia last year was 7th overall in baseball for barrel rates last year.
Nobody's fooling that guy.
Okay, here's some of the names on that list: Judge, Ohtani, Stanton, Soto. Oh my gosh, wow, imagine that. O'Neill, Corey Seager, Teoscar Hernandez. All these guys are big power guys. And here you have Michael Toglia for the Colorado Rockies on a team of obscurity that may win 60 games this year, find his way on that list. Here's a number stat for Michael, another stat for him. Isolated power. League average comes in at 140, okay?
Right.
That's just a metric they use to see how hard and how far you hit the baseball. His ISO last year was 238, okay? Now, you're considered an elite power hitter, anything above 200. So follow me here, guys. Everything is lining up for this guy. Oh, by the way, he plays in a ballpark which has one of the highest park factors for offense. Colorado, thin air, ball travels. Okay, well, you're thinking, okay, well, that makes sense. Guy plays in Colorado.
They stop keeping the balls in the humidor.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Guy plays in Colorado. Well, that's where he's getting all his home runs. Oh, contraire, mon frère. Get into the numbers, okay? 17 of this guy's home runs last year.
On the road.
Were on the road.
Ah.
Okay, now here's another number let's look at. Batting average of balls in play. A little bit of luck in baseball, okay? It's a sport where you can get up 4 times, crush the ball 4 times, and make 4 outs, okay? You can hit the ball 110 miles an hour off the bat, but if it goes into somebody's glove, it's an out.
Yeah.
This guy's batting average of ball in play last year was only 270. League average falls in just under 300. So if these metrics line up, he gets a little more luckier. He certainly gets another year of experience under his belt. And he actually takes advantage of the ballpark he plays in. We got a home run here, for a lack of better terms, in baseball.
Got a monster dark horse player.
Okay, now a guy that's on, I'm telling you, nobody's radar.
I believe in math.
Okay, now these are the things that I do. These are the things I find. This is the work I put in. And these are the things you have to look at. You have to get inside the numbers. So he's certainly a guy this year that I'm extremely high on that, again, like I can't say it enough, is going to be a value pick. That's going to exceed value as long as he stays healthy. Now, do I think he gets 600 at-bats this year? It's a young team. I don't know the direction of where they're going. I'm sure at some point this year, later in the year, they're going to be bringing guys up, sending guys down. At the least, if he's locked in for 400 or 450 at-bats this year, I can't see where he doesn't at least take a slight step forward with all the metrics. And if he does that, you can have a guy with a 30-homer bat, like you're saying, even if it's 70 or 80 RBIs and 15 steals.
It depends on where you put him on the lineup, too.
Undrafted. You got a 30-home run guy with 15 steals that can go undrafted.
That's a steal unto itself.
It's beyond comparison. So that's a guy you're looking for. Other guys I like, and there are many. Brent Rooker, another value guy. Now, here's something interesting about the Oakland Athletics this year. I mentioned park factor. Park factor is very important doing your analysis. The ballparks have advantages.
Where they play half their games.
Left-handing hitting, right-handing. Every ballpark has a park factor. And it will tell you basically based on runs scored, and they figure out all this, okay?
You mean it's not just something that the announcers keep bringing up?
No, it's important.
I got that from an early age in watching baseball. You get guys like Red Barber, you get guys like Harry Carey that are calling games, or Jack Buck. Oh, God, I miss Jack Buck. Jack Buck has got to be one of the best baseball guys I've ever listened to as a kid or watched. I listened to him on the radio. I watched him on TV. And one thing that he was really, really big on was park factor, most definitely.
It makes a big decision. For me, it's one of the things I look at doing the DFS on a daily level.
Right.
Because if you're deciding...
Not just weather.
Well, the weather's important too, but if you're deciding between 2 players offensively, and one guy's playing in San Francisco in a home game, and one guy's playing in Cincinnati, the Great American Small Park, then
Great and Small Park.
Yeah. So I mean, that clearly you're going to lean Cincinnati.
I hit 3 home runs there.
So all right. So just real quick, another player, and the Oakland A's this year clearly they're not playing in the Coliseum, which had one of the lowest ballpark factors. It was very difficult to score runs in. I think it was third worst.
Place was a barn.
Now they're playing in a AAA stadium.
Right.
Now I don't know. At least the dimensions are similar.
What, 295 and 305 down
No,
the line?
the dimensions are similar, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to play the same. What I'm saying, and again, I'm leaning towards this one player, Brent Rooker, is I think Oakland's ballpark players this year, their offensive players this year, are going to be undervalued. Because I don't think that ballpark factor, even though it hasn't been established yet, is going to be any worse than it was in Oakland. If anything, it's going to be slightly better.
Can't be.
So a guy like Brent Rooker last year, who also was on this barrel list, had a massive year last year. And he's a guy that can easily get to 40 homers. And again, people aren't looking at Oakland bats. They had 6 guys in that lineup last year hit 20 homers in that stadium. 6 guys on a team that won 60 games.
And,
So,
and a lot of high draft choices, by the way.
and here's what they did. They extended Mark Kotze, who's a great baseball guy, young coach who, again, they paid him all kinds of money for a guy that has a 30% winning percentage. Why?
Listen,
because they see the big picture.
When he was with the Marlins, Renee Lashman did nothing but ball wash him about his knowledge of baseball. A guy like Mark Kotze, a young guy who knows so much about. He knows. I mean, we all know Renee Lashman's a great coach.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and he has a distinguished career. He's a great baseball man. He forgot more about baseball than all of us will ever know. Okay, when this guy goes on TV and says that a 22-year-old guy who's been playing ball for 3 years in the majors knows more about him than
he's
baseball.
smart.
I mean, that's a smart guy. So
Kotze's gonna
I
be around
totally
a while.
see Kotze. I mean, listen, they need to hold the line with not only the personnel, the talent, but with the coaching staff too. When they get to Vegas and they've got the revenue, then they can go ahead and sprinkle in some extra talent. But right now they've got a really good core. You're talking about those 5 guys with 20 plus homers.
Yeah.
Come on.
6 guys last year, 20.
6.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was impressive.
And Kotze is their manager.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Come on.
Just one more thing going back to Togley.
Scary future in Oakland, by the way.
He's ranked as
Or
the
Las Vegas.
63rd outfielder coming off the board this year. So basically, if you're in a 20-team league,
Yeah.
everybody gets to take 3 outfielders.
Yeah.
There you go. That's my point about being undrafted. So I think he's going to have a big year. Again, back to baseball. You can get lost in the metrics. I certainly do because I enjoy it.
Yep.
But I like to tend
Nerd.
to focus in on some of the key ones. And when you're looking at offensive players, especially in a game baseball now where it's driven by the home run, ISO is a very good stat to lean on. Isolated power. I mentioned 130 being league average. So when you line up, let's say ISO, ballpark factor, you want to lean towards guys in baseball because baseball players are very streaky. Guys that are having success over the last, let's say, 5 to 7 days. When you start lining up all these metrics for your own sense, when you're doing your analysis on a daily basis or if you're in a weekly league, those are the things I like to lean on. Those 4 or 5 categories, and I base my opinions from there. And then you get into pitching matchups and stuff like that, certainly. But, that's how I tend to break down my approaches when I'm looking towards, daily stuff and certainly for season long. Now, drafts are coming up. I know most of us don't do baseball drafts. I do a couple.
There's a lot of people that do baseball. Don't sell you nerd freaks, you nerd baseball freaks short. There's as more. Listen, rotisserie baseball has been around 3 times longer than football, okay, and much longer than basketball, okay, and they've been around longer than the March Madness bracket madness,
Yeah.
okay. So don't sell rotisserie baseball short. Just because I'm not an enthusiast for it doesn't mean that there aren't
there's a lot of baseball.
millions
Yeah,
of
there's a
people
lot of
playing
baseball
it. So.
So I mean, again, there's for me, it's getting into the metrics, getting into understanding what's important. But again, it's confusing because some of the metrics overlap, some of them are contradictions, and it gets confusing and convoluted. So I just like to focus in on a couple of the key metrics for offense. Maybe next week I'll bring sort of a pitching perspective in, some pitchers I really
So we'll
like.
focus on pitchers next week.
Yeah, for sure. Because I like some guys certainly that are top end rotation guys, and some other guys that are going to have to fill out your rotation. I like the Phillies rotation. Christopher Sanchez, one of the guys I'm really locked on this year. Another guy that's a late round draft pick on a big organization with a high win total this year. So there's plus environments you're looking for as well to keep your players obviously at the highest level that they can be, the highest ceiling, just like in football. You want players with high ceilings. So that's what I do.
Okay, well, and by the way, what is the what would you consider to be an all-star batting average?
League average has gone down consistently over the last 15 years. I think the league average last year was only 237.
But all-stars are in their 290s, 280s.
There were 12 guys last year that hit over 300 in baseball. That's it.
Okay.
Compared to 20 years ago, there was like 45, 50 guys.
Okay. Well,
it's changing quite a bit. Right now, it's all about power,
right.
ISO, driving in runs. Obviously, launch angle is the reason why everybody now is trying to hit homers. So it's just like in basketball where they figure over the longer period of time, the more three-point shot attempts you make, it works out where you're more proficient offensively. So it's not about efficiency, it's about attempts,
right?
Maximizing, your opportunities and
offensive output.
Like a squirrel, every squirrel eventually finds a nut. Same thing with the home run. The 3-run home run is what's going to rule baseball, and it's not going to change this year.
Okay. So, well, the reason why I'm asking is because it's no secret we work together outside of it. Work at a gentleman's club outside of this venue. And when I criticized you Tuesday night and said you had an all-star batting average tonight, I just wanted to get that out here. I've been saving that for 5 days.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You suck. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. It is. It's a lot, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been pretty good at the club lately. I got to say that. So come on down and see us. We're out of stuff. We could talk about basketball.
How about the Lakers?
By
the way, LeBron got hurt yesterday.
Oh, he got butt hurt yesterday.
No. This is a serious injury.
Hurt.
This is hamstring. This is a couple of weeks.
This
is. I have a feeling.
Being an old guy, I've done a hamstring at 45.
That's the thing. They're going to be their window is now with the Luka trade and the way they're playing best defensive rated team over the last 25 games.
I still see them winning ball games.
Can I tell
see them winning.
I don't know how the seedings are going to play out, but I would not be surprised to see the Warriors and the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
In the first round, 5-6?
No, Western Conference Finals.
Oh, boo.
Western Conference Finals.
Dude, I want to see the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. Thunder.
Here's the thing. They're the best team in the league talent-wise overall, but when it comes to experience and defense in the playoffs.
The NBA does not want to see a Cleveland, Oklahoma City Thunder Finals. They don't want to see it.
I agree with that.
They don't want to see it. They don't want to see the number 14 media market and the number 32 media market. No, they want to see an LA team, preferably the Lakers.
Okay.
And if not the Lakers, then the Golden State Warriors.
Well, as we know,
that's what they want to see.
In the NBA playoffs, defense is what usually rules the roost.
Yep.
And right now, last 25 games, Lakers are 1 in the NBA in defense efficiency, and the Warriors are 5 in the league in defensive efficiency. Now, a good part of that has been Jimmy Butler's engaged, and he's happy, apparently, for a short time, which is fine. They'll get the most out of him. And that team,
still saying bye.
For me, Curry is the most, I don't say he's underrated because we don't know how great he is. But, okay, real quick, and then we'll go. The top 5 NBA players of all time that they usually throw into discussions when they throw out the starting 5, right? It's usually Michael, it's usually LeBron, it's Kareem, it's Jordan, and it's usually Magic Johnson at the point, right?
Right.
I'm throwing Magic to the back of the bus, and I'm putting Steve Curry in that discussion. I'll tell you why. There's not been a better shooter in the history of the game than Steph Curry.
True.
I will say that Magic Johnson, even though he revolutionized the position as a 6'8" point guard, that it could play anywhere on the court, that's fine. We know Curry can't do that. But in terms of revolutionizing the game, nobody did it better than Curry. He's taken 3 different sets of teams to the finals and been successful. He did it when it was just Clay, who was the best catch and shooter in the game at that point, and Draymond. Then he entertained Kevin Durant, and everybody's, Kevin Durant wasn't the reason why they won in OKC. In Golden State. It was Steph Curry. And now, with Butler and an aging Draymond Green, what Curry put in another 40 last night?
Bananas.
So it's like,
bananas.
And when you look at what he does physically on the court, the dude's like 6'1", 180.
Yeah.
And gets separation and still gets to the rim.
Yeah.
Okay? He's on a list of players that are all 6'9", 6'8". They're physical specimens. And then you got a little 6'1" guy running around doing everything everybody else does.
Listen, the physiology has got a lot to do with being a physical freak. Okay, and at his smaller size, he is a bit of a physical specimen.
It's what he does on the court is amazing, and it's unparalleled.
Well,
and therefore, I'm willing to open up the argument at some point where when you have your starting five, I'm okay putting him at the point in terms of an all-time team. I really am.
I'm not.
Again, he's the scorer and can score from anywhere on the court.
I'm not.
He's my guy.
I would rank him after Oscar Robertson. I really would.
Not
I mean,
doing
it's
that.
Magic. It's Big O. It's Magic. It's Big O. Then you can go ahead and add him. But no.
He's in the discussion for me.
Well, but LeBron was butthurt a few days earlier because he got after Stephen A. Smith. Hate you. He got after Stephen A. Smith because Stephen A. Smith had an opinion
About his son?
about LeBron Jr.
Yeah, Bronny.
Bronny.
Yeah, okay, I guess we'll end on this then. Good for Stephen A. Smith for doing what he gets paid a lot of money to
Screw that
do.
guy.
I'm not a Stephen A. Smith fan, but I don't
Go back to soap operas.
I don't blame him for what he said. And if anything, it just makes LeBron look worse than he already does in these moments. You know what I'm saying? Because you're okay with him going up to a reporter?
You're
okay
you're
with
in
an
big
athlete?
you're in big trouble with criticizing LeBron with
Why?
me.
Why?
Oh well, let's see. I own
He didn't
two
criticize-
different LeBron James jerseys. I love LeBron James.
Okay.
I think he is the greatest basketball player of this generation.
So he's above
And,
criticism. Muhammad Ali didn't get criticized, and when he was the number one athlete in the world, and he was perhaps the best athlete
Well,
of
that's
his
a,
time.
that's a little bit apples and oranges because Muhammad Ali made a principled stand against an unjust war.
Well, I get that, but still, you are if you are
Don't
at
be
the
hyperbolic.
top, if you're at the top of your profession in any profession, you are entitled to criticism. I'm sorry.
Sure,
I don't
there's
care.
no doubt about it.
Okay.
I'm at the bottom of my profession, and you can talk all the shit about me you want.
And he's not the one being criticized. It was his son.
I understand.
Who's
that, but
also a
he's a
professional.
father. You're a father, you know.
Okay.
What if I were to talk shit about Brie? Oh, she's lucky. She's just fast, and she can jump high for a 5'7" volleyball player.
Then I'll fight you on it.
And her partner who's going to what she's going to a private college now. She got a scholarship.
Yes.
Her partner carried her.
Okay. But you'd have to back it up.
I understand that.
You'd have
but
to
I'm
back
not
it up.
Stephen A. Smith. I'm not going to talk shit about somebody's kid.
Okay, but everybody is somebody's kid. This is my
Okay.
point. So what's the argument? Is it LeBron's
You
kid?
talk shit about me, my 77-year-old mother will
Okay.
come over here and hit you with her cane.
Okay, and I'm okay with a parent defending his child.
No, that cane hurts, man. She can really swing it still. I mean,
All right. Well, where are we going with this? The bottom
she can
line
still throw
is
a punch too.
the bottom line is I'm not debating or not saying that a parent can't defend his child, and I'm not saying that what LeBron James did was necessarily wrong in the confrontation. I think it was more about where he did it. He didn't have to do it then. That's a LeBron move. He could have gotten him in the tunnel and had a mano-a-mano conversation, but since you don't have mano-a-mano together in that conversation, you have a half a man and a half a journalist, so why would you expect to get the right result?
Half a man.
So when you...
half a man.
yeah, so apparently so, and this is what's becoming more...
Stephen A. Smith is just lucky he didn't go Will Smith on his ass.
Anyway, and that would have been even more embarrassing for LeBron.
That would have been hilarious.
I'm not on an island here. I'm right.
You're not on an island. You're right.
LeBron James.
So you're in a boat and you're right.
LeBron James moved hell and high water to get his son to where he is now.
Sure.
Okay. He didn't deserve to be there. He's not a great NBA basketball player and probably never will be.
Sure.
So based on that, it's up for criticism. You're allowed to look at that situation and explain
All right.
it for what it is. Are
All
you
right.
not? Are you not?
All right.
Or
you're,
is that
you're the general manager, Pelinka. You're JJ. You're the head coach. Okay. And you have LeBron, and his middle name is fucking LeBron fucking James, who is the leader. He's the icon. He is the big dog of the entire league, and especially your team, one of the flagship franchises in the history of the goddamn league. Okay. And he wants this little favor. His son is a serviceable basketball player. He's had moments. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to go out there and go
So
and throw
basically,
the ball at the popcorn
so your
guy.
argument is because
Okay.
he's LeBron James, he did this.
And he pulled a few strings to get his kid into camp. He pulled a few strings to get his kid to play in a game with him.
Okay.
And then, boom, he's gone to the G League, and we have not seen him since.
Now, you've seen him on the court. He's played a few minutes.
Yeah.
But the point is, okay, fine.
For the first week of the season.
This argument
We're
is...
almost done with the season, and he's still talking about the kid. Has the kid played in the last 2 months?
Yes.
Where?
On the Lakers. This discussion is not about giving your biggest asset a break and allowing him to pull a string or two and have a say in basketball operations.
You don't think he would?
That was not the discussion that Stephen A. Smith had with him in that 10-second clip that you saw. LeBron approach him and say, "Keep your son's name out of my fucking mouth."
Let's keep my son's name out of your fucking mouth.
Somebody's mouth. Put something else in it. My point is
See
that
this, Bree? This is what I'm talking about.
that's not what we're talking about. The fact that he pulled strings. The
You're
fact
making me cough. Hang on.
we're talking about the fact that he criticized his ability to not be a good basketball or lack of ability to be a good NBA player. That's all he said.
All right.
Repeatedly. And he's on it constantly because he's always been on LeBron James. And any chance that Stephen A. Smith gets, he takes a shot at LeBron James, even
Right.
if it's through his son. So I
Right.
get that angle. I get there's a history there. But he is not above criticism. LeBron's not above it. His son certainly is not above it. Nobody is above criticism in sports.
And I won't argue that.
This is what this is
I
about.
won't argue that, though.
So you're saying that
What I will say is that it's hyperbolic.
you're defending the
And I'm
action.
saying that Stephen A. Smith has enough bullshit to bitch about. He has to go after the biggest fucking whale in the fucking room because he needs attention.
I am okay with that, too.
That guy has no journalistic credibility with me whatsoever.
Okay.
Un cazzo,
Different
okay?
discuss-
He's got
different-
none of it.
Different discussion. And I agree.
Eh.
I'm not a Stephen A. Smith guy either.
Him and the Mad Dog.
They all do clickbait
Just
stuff.
garbage. First take is a dumpster fire when those two morons are on.
Okay.
Dumpster fire.
Okay. But
That.
guess what? Bronny still sucks at basketball.
Sure.
And anybody can say it.
Sure.
They're not lying.
Can you beat him one-on-one?
I don't care. I'm not a basketball player.
I'm not a basketball player.
I don't care. But I also didn't have my father, pull me in.
Shoot at the king, don't miss.
Anyway, overrated. And
Sure.
LeBron's a
Sure, but guess what? LeBron James can tell a journalist, keep my son's name out of your fucking mouth.
and I hope more of them talk about him now. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and guess what? Then they're going to do it for attention. And then you know what James is going to do?
Well, because you're going to go approach him at the next home
No,
game and
no,
say whatever?
no.
Well, what's he going to do?
It's called accessibility.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the future, let's say you're a nationally syndicated sports host or a sports personality, or somebody from ESPN per se, or Fox Sports or something like that, and you're which LeBron has been notorious for doing this. You talk shit, and you essentially, as far as he's concerned, you're dead. You died. You no longer are in the business because he won't work with you.
Okay. But post basketball, I don't see him having much of a career in basketball.
He doesn't need it. He's a billionaire, for Christ's sake.
So that's my point.
What does he care?
So that's my point.
And he's got an entertainment company. He's got a film production company.
So why are you worried about crossing LeBron James at some point in the future in the basketball
Because
industry?
you're doing it because Stephen A. Smith is doing it for attention. He's doing it for clicks.
He has been consistent since day one in his attitude towards LeBron James.
Okay.
What he did is not any different than what he's done over the last 20
And he's a
years.
hack.
Okay. Well,
What's your point?
I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing the fact of who he is, what he's done, and what we're talking about. And he's been attacking LeBron James for 20 years. The difference
Michael
now,
Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser have 15 times the gravitas that guy has ever had on his best day.
I agree.
Okay, and dumbass ESPN is casting them aside. We're no longer going to see Pardon the Interruption. But meanwhile, we got to see 4 fucking hours of First Take and their dreck every fucking day.
Listen,
give me a break.
I have been railing against ESPN
Crash the mothership right
for
now.
years. I've been saying it. So
Okay, it's sensationalistic bullshit sports journalism. I don't care anymore.
It's the MSNBC of sports.
Listen, when I go Sports Center, and then I hit pause. That way I can fast forward through the commercials. I can fast forward through the parts that I don't want to watch or see. I don't care, the sports I don't care about, get to the stuff I like, okay? And then I check the schedule going forward on the menu. Oh, Get Up is after this. Okay, I want to see what they're covering. Usually the same, Greenberg nonsense, New York, New York, New York. Then I move on to the regular news. I don't, First Take, no, pass. I'll watch the Pat McAfee show all day, but I will not watch 5 minutes of First Take.
I don't watch it either.
Not any of it.
I watch Coward and I watch
McAfee's got the best show. He really does. It's like a morning talk show on FM radio, but with like real gravitas, real information being shared. I love that show. Big shout out to Pat McAfee and his crew. Love you guys. Hope you guys keep sharing us on your group page. So that's it. We're done arguing.
Cool.
Don't fuck with LeBron.
F LeBron. And F Coward.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And F the Steelers.
We can definitely get on the Colin Coward hate fest. All right. So instead of engaging in hate, since we've taken up an hour and 15 minutes of your time, we're going to go ahead and call it a show. We're going to be seeing you again next week,
Hold on.
11 a.m.
We got news.
What? Breaking news.
We got news.
Matt's got the breaking news glasses on. It's not
Browns
aliens.
and Myles Garrett reach agreement today on a record contract extension that averages $40 million a year.
Oh my God.
He got $123 million in guaranteed money. So the Browns will no longer make the playoffs again for the next 5 years because they paid an underachieving edge rusher a lot of money.
What is with Ohio football teams? Ohio, you're supposed to be the cradle of professional football, the cradle of the sport of modern football.
And he has a no trade clause.
And you have this Haslam guy running the Browns into the ground. If I was Kevin Stefanski, I'd quit.
His agent is a woman.
Good for her. She's about to make a whole lot of money.
Clutch Sports, Nicole Lynn.
Oh, well, good for her. Good job, Nicole.
10%
You
of that.
you fleeced the Browns again.
A lot of money.
Good.
They just have money somewhere. I mean, like growing on trees.
Obviously. But a billionaire like Haslam, that's lunch money for him. Can I write in the check now? Yeah, of course he wants to.
Hollywood Brown re-signed in KC.
Yes, I know that.
And Ertz re-signed in Washington.
Oh, well, that was kind of expected because
He had a good year last year.
He loves him.
Yeah, that was a little bromance.
Loves him.
That was a bromance.
Okay, so is that all the breaking news so far?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Well, tomorrow's going to get real busy.
Mike Gesicki re-signed in Cincy. DeVito for the Giants.
Yep.
Got all those. Okay, that's what we got.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we go now?
I think we're done.
I'm saying goodbye to everybody and let them know we'll be here at 11 o'clock and that there's going to be no time change next week, so you'll be able to be on time.
Half LeBron James.
For those of you watching on YouTube, of course, like and subscribe. It's around here somewhere. It's like over there. I think it's there. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Twitch, like and subscribe. Get it in because things are starting to expand a little bit here. We're really enjoying it. For those of you on Facebook Live, keep an eye out. Of course, every Sunday we'll start doing the promoting, probably on Saturday nights. And they'd be like, oh, God, really, again? So on behalf of myself and Amaz, say goodbye to the nice people.
Peace out, everybody.
Okay, well, peace out, everybody. We'll see you guys next week, 11 a.m. sharp, with the carnage of free agency and pitchers. Bye.